Tonight, you travel quietly back in time, not to witness the movement of armies, not to stand beneath banners or hear the names of kings spoken aloud, not to arrive at moments that history chose to remember, but simply to step without sound into an ordinary night in ancient Persia, where the heat of the day has finally loosened its hold on stone and earth, and the air drifting through the city has grown slow, gentle, and forgiving. And if you find comfort in wandering through places like this, you can subscribe and return whenever you like. But for now, there is nothing to follow, nowhere to be, and nothing required of you, except to allow this quiet journey to carry you softly toward rest. You arrive at the edge of a broad stone road where pale surfaces reflect a faint wash of moonlight, and tall walls rise calmly on either side, their surfaces still holding traces of warmth beneath the night air, as though the day has not fully released them yet, while oil lamps set deep into carved alcoves burn low and steady, their flames sheltered from the breeze and casting long, unmoving shadows across the ground. The city does not feel asleep, only inward, as though its energy has withdrawn gently behind doors and gates, leaving quiet breath and softened movement behind thick walls. And as you begin to walk, your steps seem to dissolve almost immediately into the hush, as though the night itself has accepted you without question or resistance. Ahead, the road curves gently and begins to narrow, guiding you away from open space and toward quieter quarters, and above you narrow gaps between buildings reveal thin ribbons of dark sky, stars resting faintly beyond reach, while from somewhere deeper within the city comes the distant, patient sound of water moving slowly through channels cut into stone. You pass beneath a carved archway where patterned stone frames a single oil lamp, its light warm and contained, and beyond it the street feels softer, smoother beneath your feet, worn down by countless evenings like this one, evenings that ended not in noise or ceremony, but in rest. The sound of the city changes as you move deeper, becoming less defined, less insistent, until it is no longer made of individual noises at all, but of a shared stillness that settles gently over everything. And with each step, the present loosens its grip, allowing the ancient night to take its place around you. A faint breeze moves between the walls, carrying the scent of cooling stone and earth, and somewhere nearby, a door settles into its frame with a soft wooden sound, followed by silence that feels complete rather than empty, as though the night has closed one more small opening and settled comfortably into itself. You continue without hurry, without direction, noticing how the lamps are spaced farther apart now, how the darkness between them feels calm rather than deep, and how even the shadows seem to rest where they fall, unmoving and untroubled. Above you, a shutter shifts once in the breeze before growing still again, and the sound fades so quickly that it feels as though it was never there at all, leaving only the steady presence of the road beneath your feet and the quiet awareness that nothing here is asking for your attention. The city opens itself to you slowly, not as a place of events, but as a place of moments that repeat night after night, where the work of the day has ended, where voices have softened and lamps have been lowered, and where the ordinary rhythm of life has turned inward to rest. With each step, your thoughts begin to slow in response, mirroring the pace of the street and the steady breathing of the city itself, until even the idea of time feels distant and unnecessary, and the ancient night of Persia becomes not something you are visiting, but something you are moving through quietly, effortlessly, as the journey continues. The road continues gently downward into a quieter residential quarter, where the buildings stand closer together and the night air feels slightly warmer, held between walls that have absorbed the sun throughout the long day. And here the city breathes more softly, as though it has drawn inward to rest behind doors that are now firmly closed. Heavy wooden doors line the street, their surfaces worn smooth by generations of hands, iron fittings cool and unmoving beneath the touch, while woven curtains hang across narrow openings, where a faint amber glow suggests rooms not yet fully surrendered to sleep. Through one such opening, you glimpse the interior of a small home lit by a single oil lamp, where a woman kneels beside a low table, her movements slow and deliberate, as she arranges bowls and folded cloth, setting each item into place with care, preparing the space for morning before allowing herself to rest. She pauses for a moment, hands resting lightly on the table's edge, listening to the quiet that has settled around her, then reaches out to lower the lamp, and as the flame dims, the room softens into shadow, becoming part of the sleeping city once more. Farther along, a man steps into a narrow courtyard, carrying a play vessel, the water inside shifting gently with each careful step, and he pours it slowly into a stone basin, rinsing dust from his hands and forearms after the long heat of the day, lingering for a moment as the cool water runs over his skin, before lifting the vessel again and returning it inside, closing the door behind him with a patient, familiar motion. You continue walking without hurry, noticing how the air carries faint traces of earth, oil, and cooling brick, scents that feel grounded and comforting, and how the night breeze moves gently through the lane, never rushing, never disturbing the calm that has settled here. Above you, a shutter opens briefly, allowing warm air to escape as a blanket is shaken free of dust, and for a moment soft laughter drifts into the street, low and unguarded, before the opening closes again and the sound disappears into stillness. A little farther on, you pass beneath a narrow balcony where fabric hangs motionless, and from within the room behind it comes the quiet sound of someone folding garments, smoothing the cloth with careful hands, repeating a task that has ended countless days before this one. Two night watchmen emerge from the shadows at the far end of the lane, walking side by side at an unhurried pace, their sandals brushing lightly against stone as they speak in low voices about nothing important, simply sharing the quiet hours together while the rest of the city sleeps. As they pass, one of them adjusts the strap of his cloak, the other nods slightly, and then they continue on into another street, their footsteps fading until they are no longer distinguishable from the night itself. The lane grows still again, broken only by the faint creak of wood cooling and the distant murmur of water flowing unseen beneath the city. And with each step, you feel yourself sinking deeper into the slow rhythm of the night. You pass a small doorway where sandals have been placed neatly beside the threshold, their owner already resting inside, trusting the calm of the city and the watchful quiet of the night. While beside them a clay lamp burns low on a ledge, its flame steady and patient. The light casts soft shadows that stretch and contract along the wall like slow breathing, and from within the room comes the faint sound of someone shifting on a mat, adjusting their position, before settling again into stillness that feels complete and undisturbed. Just beyond this doorway, a low bench sits against the wall, and a folded cloak has been laid across it for the morning, its fabric catching a trace of lamplight before fading into shadow, a quiet sign that tomorrow has already been gently prepared. You move on gently, noticing how the sounds of the city have thinned to almost nothing, leaving only the steady presence of stone beneath your feet, the quiet air against your skin, and the sense that the lives behind these walls have turned fully inward. With every step, the ordinary routines of this place feel closer rather than distant, not as stories to be told, but as calm, repeating rituals that belong to the night, and the peaceful rhythm of the Persian city draws you deeper into rest. Good. This is now properly extended, clean, and stable. Below is Part 3, fully rewritten and expanded, copy-paste ready, in the locked format, with verified character count. Part 3, gardens, water, and the edge of the city. The lane gradually widens as you move onward, and the close-set walls begin to give way to open space, where the night air feels cooler and freer, no longer held tightly between stone, and the city's quiet breath seems to deepen as you approach a place meant for stillness. You step through a low opening in the wall and find yourself beside a walled garden, where stone paths curve gently between low borders and carefully tended plants, their leaves dark and unmoving beneath the moon, and narrow channels of water guide a steady flow through the space, the sound soft, patient, and unbroken. You pause beside one of these channels, watching moonlight ripple across its surface, and the movement feels calming rather than distracting, as though the water carries away whatever remains of the day and leaves only quiet behind. The garden is not empty, only quiet, and on the far side a figure moves slowly, a gardener adjusting a small stone cover over one of the channels, ensuring the water flows as it should through the night, before straightening and standing still for a moment, listening, as though the sound itself is enough. Satisfied, the gardener turns and walks toward a shadowed doorway, disappearing without haste, leaving the garden to rest in the open night air, where nothing stirs except the water and the occasional shift of leaves as the breeze passes through. You follow the path as it winds gently through the space, noticing how the scent of soil and plants lingers in the air, cooler and richer than the stone-scented streets behind you, and how the night sky feels closer here, less broken by walls and roofs, allowing the stars to rest more fully above the garden. A low bench sits beside the path, its surface cool beneath your fingertips, and upon it a clay cup has been left turned on its side, emptied earlier in the evening and forgotten now. A small and ordinary sign of life that has already withdrawn for the night. Beyond the garden wall, the city thins, and the buildings give way to longer stretches of darkness between lamps, each pool of light smaller than the last, until the road ahead feels guided more by moonlight than flame. You walk along the quieter edge of the city, where the sounds of life have grown distant and softened, and from somewhere beyond the walls comes the low call of an animal settling for the night, answered only by silence that feels wide and undisturbed. A single lamp burns near a gate set into the outer wall, its flame small but steady, casting light just far enough to guide anyone returning late, and as you pass beneath it, even this modest glow feels gentle, as though the night requires very little to remain calm. Near the gate, a guard rests on a stone bench, his spear leaning quietly against the wall beside him, his posture relaxed and unguarded, eyes half closed, as he listens to the water and the open air beyond the city. You pause for a moment near the gate, feeling the cool air move more freely here, carrying the faint scent of open land and distant trees, and beyond the wall the darkness stretches outward without interruption, calm and patient, offering nothing that needs to be followed. A short distance away, another section of the wall curves gently inward, and beside it a stack of clay jars rests beneath a simple covering, their rounded shapes catching traces of moonlight before fading back into shadow, waiting quietly for morning without urgency. You turn back toward the inner streets, noticing how the sound of water and the openness of the night linger quietly within you, as though they have settled deeper than thought, becoming part of the rhythm that now guides your steps. As you walk, the lamps appear again one by one, their light familiar and low, and the open air behind you gives way once more to stone and shadow, without any sense of loss, only transition. The calm of the garden follows you inward, remaining present even as walls rise again around the path. And with every step, the edge of the city feels less like a boundary, and more like a gentle pause between the movement of the day and the stillness of sleep. You continue without hurry, letting the quiet of this place hold you, as the Persian night stretches calmly around the city, and everything within it rests. You follow the inward path as it grows quieter still, and the lamps become fewer and farther apart, their flames lowered until each one offers only the smallest circle of light, enough to guide the way without interrupting the darkness that now feels complete and settled. The street narrows again, and the walls rise higher on either side, their surfaces warm with the memory of the day and cool beneath the night air, and your steps seem to soften as though the stone itself is listening and choosing not to echo them back. A doorway stands slightly ajar, and from within comes the faint sound of slow breathing, steady and unbroken, the quiet presence of someone already deep in sleep, while beside the threshold, a small clay lamp has been placed low against the wall, its flame barely moving as it holds the dark at a gentle distance. You pass without disturbing anything, and farther along the street you notice how curtains hang motionless across windows, and how no voices rise from within the homes now, as though the city has reached the deepest point of its rest and no longer stirs at all. Somewhere above you, a shutter settles into place with a soft wooden click, and after that even the air seems to pause, carrying no sound except the quiet movement of breath and the distant, almost imagined sound of water flowing far away. The road curves gently, guiding you without thought toward a familiar square, where a single lamp burns beside a low wall, its light touching stone worn smooth by countless evenings like this one, and in the center of the space, a small basin reflects the moon without ripple or movement. You stop beside it for a moment, and the stillness feels complete, as though nothing more could be added and nothing needs to be taken away, and the simple act of standing here becomes enough. Around the square, doorways are closed and secure, sandals rest neatly beside thresholds, and the sense of lives resting just beyond the walls feels calm and undisturbed, trusting the night to pass quietly above them. A faint breeze moves through the space, brushing across the stone and then slipping away again, carrying with it the soft scent of clay, water, and cooling brick, and even this movement feels slow and unhurried. You begin to walk again, knowing without thinking that this is the end of the path, and with each step the city behind you feels more distant, not lost, but gently set aside. The lamps now fade completely, leaving only moonlight to guide you, and the streets seem to dissolve into shadow, their shapes still present, but no longer asking to be observed. You realize that you have not traveled through events or history tonight, but through the quiet rhythm of ordinary lives at rest, where the closing of doors and the lowering of lamps mark the true ending of the day. There is nothing left to notice, nowhere left to walk, and nothing required of you now, except to allow this calm to remain exactly as it is. The city rests behind you, held safely within its walls, and the quiet you have walked through lingers gently within you, steady and unbroken. You pause one final time, letting the stillness settle fully around you, and then, without sound or effort, you turn gently away from the sleeping streets of ancient Persia, carrying the quiet with you as the night slowly guides you the rest of the way into sleep.